All right, UFC Fight Night, Garcia versus Onama coming at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. Pretty low-key card, nothing special, something just to get us through till we get to the main championship fight. I'm going to be breaking down every fight, giving my breakdowns and prediction on this card. Let's get into it. Let's get right into the prelims. All right, coming in at the women's strawweight division, we're going to go with Ariane Carnelossi versus Talita Alinsar. Now, Carnelossi got dominated by Lupe Godinez. Some all right striking. I didn't really see nothing that I liked from her. Not really impressive by any means. Not technical. I just haven't liked what I've been seeing. On the other hand, Alinsar, a little bit more technical, a little bit more strikes. I think she's gonna really have to rely on that technical skill in this matchup, and I'm looking for her to get the win on a decision. Not a lot to say about these fighters. Alinsar, pretty good kickboxing. It's about it. Nothing really too special from these women fighters. Let's take a look at the odds. Alinsar at the minus 255 favorite. Carnelossi plus 205. I just don't see a big advantage in either one of these fighters as much. I would just say the technicality of Alinsar, but to, put the price tag at the minus 255, nothing really there for me. But yep, Alinsar by decision. Let's move on. Get into the welterweight division. Philip Rowe versus Sung Chung Ko. Sung Chung Ko coming in off of a few wins, coming off the Dana White's Contender Series. I think he had 2 unanimous wins in his recent fight. Now, Philip Rowe, on the other hand, Phil Rowe, he's faced some pretty good competition. Slick striker, pretty good BJJ. The thing about Ko is he's pretty stiff, but also a good striker. And honestly, I'm going to go with the dog on this one. I'm going to go with Phil Rowe. I see his technical striking playing a big part in this. Ko, yeah, he leaves his head still, and I see that being a problem. I think that reach advantage and quick 1-2 of Phil Rowe is going to be able to get through and tag him. I don't really see a finish happening in this one. It's possible it's there. Look at the fight odds on this one. Yeah, he's coming in at the plus 170 dog. Yeah, we're gonna go with the dog on this one. Phil Rowe, pretty significant reach advantage, 8.5 inches. And we're looking at the significant strikes accuracy. They're about the same. Ko a little bit higher. Phil Rowe throwing a little bit more volume. I think that's going to be the winner right there. I think the total strikes, significant strikes. I think that's what's going to get Rowe this decision win. So I'm going to go Phil Rowe by decision. All right, let's get on to the next one. All right, Conejo Ruiz versus Alice Ardalian. Both these fighters, nothing exciting at all. Conejo Ruiz, I think she's coming off of 3 KO losses. Watching her fights, just she has like a good one, like head and arm. I've been noticing she can get some girls to the ground. She gets them on that head and arm and just seems to stay there and just try to get ground strikes, which is just not impressive and not enough, I think, in this matchup. On the other hand, Alice, she's a lot more well-rounded. I know in one of her fights, she did pretty much give up to getting a liver kick. Didn't really like that. So just seeing that right there automatically ruins that minus 400 price tag. I don't like that. I would stay away from anyone seeing that and thinking she's just a massive favorite and then trying to bet on that. I would stay away from that 100%. Don't really like it. Not for me right there. But honestly, I would call this a really low level fight. Nothing impressive from either of these fighters that I'm seeing. I think I think the line should be a lot closer than it is. It's pretty wide for, you know, neither of them showing that. Maybe the size advantage, the 3 inches might help. 1 inch reach advantage might help. I honestly don't know, but I think this is just going to be another decision win by Alice Bardalian. She's just going to get more volume out, a couple more strikes. This fight might go to the ground. I don't see a lot of strikes or submission looks or anything happening from this. I see this being actually an uneventful fight. Not looking forward to this one. But yeah, let's move on. Bardalian by decision. All right, let's get into the women's bantamweight division. Now, this fight should be a little bit more exciting. We're going to go with Kellen Vieira versus Norma Dumont. Now, I really like what I see from Norma Dumont. Pretty all around, but I really like her striking. Really good stand-up game. I think these are pretty good lines. She's at the 150 favorite. Vieira coming in at the plus 125 dog. Now, Vieira has been in there with really good fighters. She's been at the top. She's been ranked for a good amount of time now. The only thing is Vieira, when she gets to the ground, she there's no transitions. There's nothing. She's not giving a lot of looks, you know, maybe the arm triangle over here and there, and she'll just kind of sit there and hold it. But I do see this fight being pretty decent. I see them standing up, and I see Dumont tagging her a lot. I think that's going to be the story of this one. Just the volume. She's going to really put it on her. You know, this is the women's division, so calling the KO pretty risky. But I'm going to say Norma Dumont by KO. I think she's going to be able just to tag her up. I think she's just improving, getting better and better. I think this should be pretty decent fight for the prelims, you know, kind of build up the momentum as we get into this low hype card. But Norma Dumont by KO. Let's move on. Dante Johnson versus Edricus Dumas. Now Dumas, he's good. He is a good fighter. He has pretty good striking, kind of like a kung fu style in a sense. You know, good front kicks, side kicks, teep kicks. You know, slick striking. He just does not seem to get wins. I want to say it's probably his fight IQ. I feel like he never gets the chance to show the real, you know, abilities he possesses. But Dante Johnson, on the other hand, he's 6 wins in his professional career, all coming by KO. He's been running through people. He just fought a heavyweight on short notice, stepped up, and dog walked him, you know, finished him. And I think he's going to do the same to Dumas. I think he's going to run through him. I'm going to say Dante Johnson by a first round finish here. Yeah, I think this is going to be a very, very dominant performance here. Yeah, Dante Johnson by KO. Let's move on to the bantamweight division. Timmy Kawamba versus Chang Ho Lee. Now, I like Timmy Kawamba. He just has not been able to get the wins I think he needs. Little messy. That's one thing I've seen. And Chang Ho Lee is kind of on the same thing. That fight with Zhao Long, it was a dog fight, really messy fight. It was actually really close, and he ended up pulling it off. The gas tank looked pretty good. On the other hand, Timmy Kawamba, I didn't really like his gas tank as much. I think the lines are pretty good here. I don't think it's showing them on this, but I want to say Timmy Kawamba is like the slight favorite, like a minus 115. Chang Ho Lee is coming out like an even, plus 100. So I think the price tag is going to be on Chung Ho Lee. I think Chung Ho Lee is going to be able to get this done. I'll say a messy, violent decision. Here's the thing: is he's going to have to really show that lighter man's skill and really show that he can defend Timmy Kwamba's takedowns, because Timmy Kwamba, that's where he wants this. He does not want to strike. He does not want to strike with this guy and get it messy. He wants to get to the ground, look for submission, or look for the ground and pound. And as long as Chang Ho Lee can defend this, that's the key to his victory right here. Standing up, he'll get a lot more volume out. So if this fight does go to the ground, it's all up to him to get back up, take away that merit from the takedown, just keep this fight standing. So I'm gonna go with Chung Ho Lee by decision. All right, not really confident in that. This fight could go either way. Timmy Kwamba can get the wrestling working, but I do got to give a pick here. I do got to give a pick, and it's gonna be Chung Ho Lee by decision. All right, let's move on to the lightweight division. Billy Elikana versus Kevin Christian. Now, this was a tough one for me. Billy Elikana, kind of all around great grappler though, high level BJJ. Really like what I've been seeing from him. And Kevin Christian, on the other hand, he's coming in off of a Dana White's Contender Series win where he was losing and kind of pulled out a crazy triangle submission. But he's 6'7" and a grappler, and I think that's pretty scary here. I want to go Elikana. But I just think that length of Kevin Christian is gonna really play a factor into this, and I can see it. Another fight where Billy Elikana's giving him sub looks, getting on top, giving some good strikes, getting to the ground, maybe getting overconfident with the grappling and catching himself in some submission. I can see something like that happening. The one thing I don't like about Kevin Christian is he is a very still fighter. He doesn't move around a lot like Elikana does. And Elikana doesn't move around a ton, but moves around a little bit more. But Kevin Christian, both of these guys are pretty low volume, but Kevin Christian is a really low. He has a 0.75 significant strikes landed per minute. Every minute he's getting like one shot. It's like every minute 10, every minute 20, 15, he's getting a strike in, essentially. I can see this fight though going to the ground and Elikana getting a little confident with that striking, and Kevin Christian being able to pull off a sub. That's going to be my pick. Kevin Christian by submission. Again, on that one, not a lot of confidence. I haven't seen a lot from Kevin Christian. Just that Dana White's Contender Series win. I'm going to go with the length here. I'm going to go with that size advantage. Who knows how big he's going to be after weigh-ins when he's in there. And I believe he has a way higher finish rate than Billy Elikana. I think Billy Elikana actually goes to decision quite often. Grapples, dominates in the grappling, but doesn't finish. And again, grappling with a grappler, high-level guy, 15 minutes, you're going to get tired, you're going to slip up, you're going to get caught in something. Kevin Christian by submission. Let's move on. For the men's flyweight division, we're going to go with Alan Nascimento versus, I think it's Ramiro Estevan. So this fight is getting a good switch in there. Not a whole lot of knowledge on Estevan. I think it's Ribeiro. Wasn't looking super impressive to me from the little things I did see. But on the other hand, Alan Nascimento looking really good in the grappling department. Look, I'm going to say a decision win by Nascimento and just a lot of ground control. A lot of ground control. That's where I see this fight happening. Going to be on the ground most of the time. Both of these guys kind of lower level or lower volume strikers, not putting out a lot. Both of them about 2.5 strikes landed per minute. Decent accuracy, sitting at 60. But yeah, I like what I see from Alan Nascimento. Again, just control time is going to be the big key here. I don't see a finish happening in this one. Alan Nascimento by decision. All right, let's get on to the next one. All right, Charles Radke versus Daniel Franza. Now, this one was a really tough one for me. Both of these guys are scrappers. You know, they like to get dirty. They like to get in there and fight. I'm going to go with Charles Radke, but the thing is Daniel Franz has some pretty good performances, and I know he had a doctor stoppage loss recently where, yeah, he was getting dropped. And in his other fights where he's won, he's gotten dropped. He gets dropped quite a bit, actually, and not to say he's chinny, but he is, you know, getting dropped. You know, once you get higher up into the UFC, if you're getting dropped at the lower level, once you're in the high level, you're not coming back up from getting dropped. But that's what made it a little tricky to make the pick, is seeing that his loss in the UFC is a doctor stoppage. You know, his eye was closed shut. But I like Radke. I like that check left hook. That he has a mean left hook. I like his striking. Seems pretty powerful. Franza, significant strikes landed per minute at 6, you know, so more of a high volume type of guy. Radke, though, I think he's gonna have a lot more behind his punches. Franza is, you know, kind of the same way, but you know, I think it seems like he gets a little tired from that high volume coming out, and I see Radke just staying patient and being able to get a big shot. So I want to say Radke's going to actually get it done. I think he's going to get the finish. I think I'm going to go Radke by KO. I think he might drop him a few times, and then maybe that third time, fourth time, he's not going to get back up. Probably some ground and pound, you know, it's not going to be swinging back, guard up. And Charles Radke by KO, TKO. We'll go technical KO. Getting that stoppage. All right, he's coming in at the 150 favorite, so pretty good line there. I really do like it. It's not crazy to go on the Franza side, but you know, I'll be siding with Charles Radke at the minus 150, or is that 160? The minus 160 price tag. That's where I'm going to be rocking with. Saturday night, Charles Radke by TKO. Let's get on to the next fight. Tierra del Valle. I think it's Egan Delgorian. This is another tough one. Very tough, actually. The plus 200 line, I think it might be, I don't want to say it's wide, but I think the value's on the dog on this one. I really like what I've seen versus Del Valle back in the Fury. I want to say it's Fury. He's a win versus Michael Aswell, where it was a very competitive match, but he was able to control him on the ground a lot. And Delgurian, that's his bread and butter, is the ground game. And I've seen a fight where, you know, he goes to the ground. This is Rodriguez, the C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez, pretty much dominates him in the first 2 rounds. End of the second round, starts showing that he's gassed. That third round just kind of gets it put on him. Wasn't able to do that. I don't think he's going to be able to control Del Valle like that. I think people are overlooking him because he's coming into the UFC. He's a lot newer, but he gets a lot more strikes in. And I think that if Del Valle can stuff these takedowns, get back up to the feet, I think he can put out more strikes and get more volume. Delgarian's going to have to really rely on the control time on this one. He's going to have to really rely on that. And I think Del Valle is ready for that test. And, you know, I'm going to side with the dog on this one. We're going to go Del Valle by I'm going to say decision. I just don't see these guys finishing each other. I don't see Delgarian getting the finish. If he does win, also I think it'll be by decision, but it's going to be straight control time. If Del Valle wins, I think it's going to be by straight volume. And that's kind of the key here. He's a good wrestler as well. There's a high chance that he can pull off a sub or get the control time, but I think Delgarian is going to be the slightly better wrestler, but I don't see him being able to control him to an extent. So we're gonna go with the dog on that one. Del Valle by decision. All right, let's move on. Let's get in to the welterweight division. Jeremiah Wells versus Themba Gorimbo. Jeremiah Wells, I almost feel like the odds are really close on this one. I feel like this is good money for the Gorimbo side. Jeremiah Wells, he's just, I don't see a lot of technicality in his strikes. He has clean, you know, kind of striking, but it's wild. It's a lot of spinning attacks, a lot of spinning back fists, spinning kicks, you know, knees, wild hooks. You know, he's kind of just trying to take your head off with every throw. And I think that can get him in trouble with Gorimbo here. Gorimbo, not a impressive wrestler. You know, no Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, nothing like that. But he can get people to the ground. And I think that's going to be a key to success here as well. I think he's going to be able to get Jeremiah Wells to the ground off of a sloppy, wild hook, you know, miss, get the back, get him to the ground, get some ground and pound control time. He has a really good chin, Jeremiah Wells, though. He's able to take hits. He's open to getting hit, though. And I think ground and pound and a couple significant strikes on the feet is what's going to get Gorimbo this win. We're going to go Gorimbo. And I feel like I'm saying a lot of decisions on this card. I just don't see people finishing each other on here, but it's the UFC. Who knows? I'm going to go with Gorimbo by decision. I do like the price tag at minus 140. Pretty close there. So there's money to be made off that one 100%. But yeah. Themba Gorimbo by decision. Let's move on. Heavyweight division. Waldez Cortez Acosta versus Ante Delija. This is going to be a good one. Ante Delija coming off of a big win for the UFC debut versus Marcin Tybura. He's a PFL legend. Has beaten Renan Ferreira by crazy fashion with some mean ground and pound. He's a pressure type fighter. Likes to get fighters against the fence and just wear them down. Puts a lot of strikes out fast. I really like this. Waldez Cortez Acosta, I like him as well. A little bit more of a patient striker, but still puts a lot of volume, little jabs and stuff, can move around. And I see he's been working on his wrestling defense a lot. He's a big guy, you know, he looks like he's going to have the size advantage in this one as far as weight, but Ante Delija is improving tremendously, I think. And longevity career in the PFL, and he's really coming over and to just dominate a pretty good heavyweight the way he did. I think he's going to be able to come and I think he's going to get the KO on Waldez Cortez Acosta. I think he's going to be able to get him to the ground. I think the first round will be a lot of stand up. It's going to be a ton of stand up, filling each other out. Delija is going to put it on him, but find out Acosta doesn't, you know, he's a tough customer. He's going to get a couple back on him, pretty even first round. And then I think Cortez Acosta is going to get comfortable standing up, and then that's when D'Elia is going to be able to get this fight to the ground. Once he gets him down to the ground, that pressure is just, he's going to keep him against the fence. He might get up a couple times and get him back down. And I think the ground and pound volume is what is going to take this, but I think he's going to end up getting the finish. I think he's going to wear down some shots on him. The ref is going to end up having to step in and stop this. So I'm going to go a TKO stoppage. Ante D'Elia. That's gonna be my pick. I'm actually really excited for this fight. It's gonna be a really good one. I'm not really counting Cortez Acosta out like that. He's good. He's really good. Like I said, he's been working on his wrestling. At this point, though, it's all a matter of we got to see it. And his fight against he did lose a decision loss to Sergey Pavlovich. He won a decision versus Spivak, and Spivak was able to get him to the ground. He wasn't able to hold him there and really control him, but he was able to get him there. And I think Ante D'Elia is going to be a better wrestler. I think he's going to be able to finish that and get him on the ground. I don't see a submission happening, but yeah. Ante D'Elia by TKO. Now let's get on to the fight of the night. Steve Garcia versus David Onama. Now, this is a really, really, really tough fight for me. I like both these fighters. David Onama, a lot of decision wins. Steve Garcia, a lot of KO wins. He dropped Calvin Kattar a couple times in their last outing, which not a lot of people are doing. He's put a couple other people out. David Onama has fought. His last fight was a Jija Jigatse, a couple other good wins. Now, the one thing I do want to point out looking at their resumes, the majority of the wins in the UFC I'm seeing from David Onama are versus guys coming off losses. On the other hand, Steve Garcia is facing guys coming off wins. So, you take that how you want it. But this is a tough one. This is a tough one because honestly, there's a lot of value in the dog. There's a lot of value in the dog. I think I wouldn't be mad at anybody taking David Onama here at the plus 110. I almost think this fight should be even. I think the knockouts is what's giving Steve Garcia that favorite position. And I'm going to go with Steve Garcia on this one. Not a ton of confidence on that. Not a ton of confidence. As far as units getting placed, it'll be a low amount. I throw that on a parlay or something. Steve Garcia's good striker. Really, really, likes to take off. Wide stance. Likes to get in there. He's pretty wild. David Onama, on the other hand, is a lot more technical in my eyes. Lot more patient. Likes his opponents to swing a lot and wear out. And I don't want to change my pick mid breakdown, but that is his key to success here. Being able to eat shots from Steve Garcia, letting him tee off, and starting to really show the technical skills in those later rounds. That's his key to success right there. Both of these guys are just really, really even in my eyes, but I'm going to go with the favorite on this one. As much as I want to go with the dog and I see the value there, I think I'm going to go with Steve Garcia on this. Beating those guys coming off wins shows them. David Onama, beating these guys coming off, even one of his wins, I think the guy lost to Lerone Murphy, then lost to Onama, and then went on like a 4-fight win streak. So, not a lot of value on that suggestion I made right there. But again, this is just a very tough one. I want to go David Onama by decision. I want to go Steve Garcia by KO. I don't know if he's going to KO him. I'm going to go Steve Garcia. by knockout. I think he's gonna get the job done. He just needs to make this fight messy. He cannot come out how he fought versus Calvin Kattar in that first round. He might be saving the gas tank. He might be changing the game plan, and that could work. But David Onama, I feel like, is just that technicality later on is gonna, pay due. I think he needs to try and get this fight finished ASAP. I think he needs to come out and make it messy, make it dirty. Again, this is a fight card that's getting us on to the next week here. But Steve Garcia by KO. Hope you guys like the breakdown. Again, go smash that like button. Go smash that subscribe button. Meet me in the comments if you disagree, agree with anything I have to say. And again, if you like the beats that you're hearing at the beginning of this video, DM me, slide in the comments. I make a lot of beats, good pricing. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching, and hope you enjoyed it.